Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture. This week's Culture Catch-Up featuring just the Nobodies. And I have to turn all of your guys' texts off their face. Chat box off. Okay, there we go. Sweet. Everybody say hello to Ryan and Daniel. You definitely have met them before on TikTok. If any of you are on TikTok, there is no way you haven't seen at least one of their TikToks. I'm going to pull their little TikTok up real quick, and then we're going to hear from them. Let's go right screen. Check it out, everybody. This is just the Nobodies. They did a recent one. There's a Spider-Man one.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
We're getting so close to the movie, it's almost here.
Yeah, so we know Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, and Electro are in the movie for sure, but Empire magazine may have just released 2 more villains. Okay, so if you look at Empire's cover page, you can see Dr. Octopus's arm,
Dr. Octopus's arm,
and Electro's logo. But we
Electro's logo
in the movie. But if you look at the bottom right corner of the cover, you can see Sandman's arm punching through a
Sandman's arm
background, the same color as Sandman's signature T-shirt.
So Sandman's confirmed.
Sandman's confirmed.
Right on the last E of the Empire logo, we see a glass bulb with the reflection on
glass
it
bulb
exactly like Mysterio's helmet.
Mysterio's back.
But get this, in the center of the cover, we see multiple Spider-Man.
Mysterio's back.
Wonder just saw that.
The Cosmic Wonder.
3 spider emojis.
That totally confirms that Toby.
I posted that first.
So there's another crazy theory.
Did you really?
On TikTok, yeah, I was before everybody. I'm not usually first, but I was first on that one. Not on TikTok. Did I say TikTok? On Twitter, but you guys aren't on Twitter. All right, let's see if everybody's saying hi. Lots of people saying hi. So let's let me pull this up. Oh, how's everybody doing? Sassy Pants, welcome to the stream. All of you guys, honestly, I have a kind of a really cool setup right here. So we're gonna go ahead and talk to just the Nobodies. Why don't you guys take a second to introduce yourself, say hi to everybody in the stream, and whatever you guys want to say. The floor is yours.
Hi everybody, my name is Ryan.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are just the Nobodies.
Yep.
As Chris said, we talk about theories and like science facts on TikTok. Last time, I was like, we did like a little filming like a couple days ago, and I have to say, I was so nervous. This is our first time ever doing like a podcast outside of our own.
Yeah. And especially live.
Live.
We've never done anything live.
Live is scary.
Yeah.
So we are so happy to be here. We're big fans of Chris and Warren. I mean, if you guys didn't know, Chris and Warren are like the OGs of just news and just all around superhero Marvel culture, everything. So it's such an honor to be here.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
huge thank you to Chris.
No, thank you to you guys. You guys are actually the first people who aren't Warren that I've had on my channel. So likewise to you guys. Super excited today. This was a super busy week for movie news. And I know you guys are usually kind of more deep into the theories, but we get our theories from the news, from the leaks, from, whatever it is Warren's talking about that day. So the question is, out of all of this excitement, what is there to gain as far as our knowledge of the films? We have new Spider-Man news specifically coming out this morning with a really cool image revealing that bridge scene actually is Tom Holland's Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, or maybe they're just really deep trolling us here, which is 100% a possibility with Marvel and those studios these days. On top of that, we have DC fandom, which was for me, and you guys were all there last week. I about lost my mind. I had such a hard time watching DC fandom. I'm excited for some of these big blockbuster movies, but it was so difficult for me to be excited with just them sitting there giving us these long panels about shows nobody cares about. So I felt like they were leading us on. They were clickbaiting us, like there's some new YouTubers. Like, let's just clickbait. Let's clickbait them all the way across the way. So we're going to be talking about some of that. Of course, we're going to get some Squid Game in there because these two are like the experts on all things Squid Games. And, of course, we're going to be taking some of your guys' comments, talking about what you guys like to. Of course, you all know on this podcast, we talk about what you guys are interested in. And I have a lot of fun reaching out to you guys. So I'm super excited to do that as well. Now, of course, we need to start with Spider-Man No Way Home. We have this image. I sent it to you guys already, so I'm not going to send it to you now, but I'm going to drop it on the stream. We have this image. Here it is, everybody. First off, let's get some reactions from you guys about this image. Go ahead.
Which one are we looking at?
It is Spider-Man Doc Ock. Sorry, I forget your 30 seconds plan.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
It does look pretty intense, just from a picture.
it's funny that Spider-Man's running away.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's like running away. Like a man with all of his powers, he's straight up just going for the sprint. That was his decision.
Do you think there's multiple villains there for him to?
Do
kind
you
of
think
retreat?
there's multiple Spider-Men there?
It looks like it could be.
I just wonder why he would be running though if there was multiple Spider-Men.
Well, that
Maybe
is
he's
the big question.
Oh, that's true.
Like maybe he's trying to like go protect somebody, and the other
Yeah.
Spider-Men are ready to fight.
But in the trailer, this scene too, this is where we saw the pumpkin bomb too.
This is
right
the
on
same scene. So yes. Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so this is the same scene in the trailer where we do see, and I'll go to the point. If you look at the trailer, I don't have the image to pull up right now for you guys, but if you look when they drop the pumpkin bomb, the road is ribbed. So what that means is on the bridge and on most bridges, they rib the road to run water off of the side of it. So when they put the pumpkin bomb down, the road's ribbed. And if you guys zoom in on this image, which you all have the ability to do on your own homes, you can see that this road is also ribbed. So this is the exact same place where that pumpkin bomb happened for sure. There's no way that they're fighting on 16 different bridges. I bet there's a big bridge scene. And I'm also going to go ahead and say this is his early suit.
Yeah.
This is an early scene. This might be his first encounter with these guys out in the wild.
Yeah.
So maybe he hasn't even seen the other Spider-Man yet, because I'm pretty sure you meet the villains before you meet your help.
Right.
Yeah?
That's very true.
So who knows how many we might get here. Doc Ock confirmed, obviously. I'm going to say Green Goblin confirmed here. And now, we just watched your guys' Spider-Man TikTok. I know Sandman's coming. Now I know Mysterio might be coming. Electro's confirmed. So who knows how many people we get in this little bridge scene, and it's going to be super cool. I mean, Spider-Man's resorting to straight up sprinting away. And
Good Lego set, that's for sure.
yeah, there you go. Definitely a good Lego set, and I can't wait for that leak, because that'll be fun too. The Lego set leaks are the most legit out there out of all of the things. Now, there is an image I have to send you guys, and I'm going to send it to you first before I pull it up on the stream, because this, for me, is just... I'm gonna text it to you. Yeah, go ahead and check out some comments. I'm gonna say Jason Navarrete says, "Hi, Nobodies. I love your theories."
Hi.
Thank
So
you.
say hi to Jason. You guys rock. Keep it up. I'm gonna look for all the love. Damien says hi, Ryan and Daniel.
Hey.
Ghostly Arranger says love their channel. Jonathan says hi, Ryan and Daniel.
Hi, guys.
Cowed Harry says hi, Nobodies. So a lot of Nobody fans out here. Good to see. Good to see.
You guys are awesome.
I too am a Nobody fan. Hey, Ghostly Ranger with a really good point here. He could be running into a Doctor Strange portal.
Yeah, that's actually...
I think that would be like the only thing he would actually need to run into, because you wouldn't like web sling into it. You don't know what it is. You like kind of walk slowly into it. Like, all right, I'm sending you guys a picture.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull it up on stream first because they're 30 seconds ahead of you, and I just want your guys' reaction to this, because I think this is the biggest leak we've gotten for Spider-Man up to this point. All right, I've pulled it up on stream. Give me like, gonna count it down here. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Almost got
My phone.
No, you're good.
Buddy.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Red light.
Oh my
He
god.
just does one big like pull, he slings across the...
And he doesn't make it. No, I thought that was fun. And that's one thing a lot of people have been saying specifically about this image is with the process of Spider-Man running, it's just such a meme-worthy photo.
It is, yeah.
I put on my Twitter today, just the second I saw this, I was just like, let the memes begin. Because, people are so talented nowadays. You guys out in the chat, in the world, are so talented now with Photoshop and so many other things that I just thought that this was great. And I immediately thought of you guys because I had you on the show today. You're Squid Game experts. Spider-Man, Squid Game, our worlds are colliding. I thought that was a lot of fun as well.
Look at that form, though, of him running. That's like someone scared.
Yeah.
Oh, that's straight up sprint form. That's... If we could see his face, it would be like...
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm super excited for this movie. Obviously, I cannot Spider Games. Yes, Spider Games. Hello from Ireland. Thank you for joining. Red light. Spider-Man. Activate instant kill. A lot of fun with that, guys. I'm super excited for Spider-Man. I think everybody at this point is. I don't think I've heard anybody say, "Yeah, I'm gonna skip Spider-Man."
I'm just really curious who that last villain is gonna be.
Yeah, what do you think, Chris? Who do you think it's gonna be?
So I came out on my channel with a theory a while ago, and I'm probably wrong because I usually am, but I like to try to go against the crowd because everybody's sure it's the Sinister Six. Maybe this is more of a wish than an actual theory. I don't want them to start with the Sinister Six or do the Sinister Six here. I want there to be 10 villains. You know, they've confirmed the villains outside of the MCU, but you still have Vulture, Scorpion, Rhino, Mysterio. I want Mysterio to make a return like you guys were talking about. I think I went through and everything, and if they include all of the villains from all of the movies, that's like 11. So I think it would be really cool if they do have all 11, and they fight them in different moments and different sequences, separate or twos. They whittle him down, whether, you know, there's rumors Sandman's going to walk away and stop because him and Peter left on good terms, you know, or maybe they kill Scorpion, or maybe Vulture gets sent into a different universe. You know, there's different options here, but I want them to start with a large number and whittle it down. And then at the very end, it's like, okay, there's 6 of us. We're the Sinister Six. Let's go as a team. That's how I want it to be done. I don't think that's going to be the case. I did a video, it's got to be a month or so ago now, about that being what I thought might happen, because we got the trailer, we didn't get all of the characters. I thought there was a lot of room for more. There were straight up Lego leaks with Vulture in it for Spider-Man No Way Home, so I'm like, well, Vulture's coming, but Mysterio might be coming, and now we're hearing the Lizard's here all of a sudden. So I was hoping that was going to be the case. I don't know that it is anymore. It seems like Mysterio, but that's the thing, there's too many people that need to come back. Like, I want Mysterio to come back. Mysterio needs to come back. Like, that's the only way to vindicate Spider-Man, other than Doctor Strange's spell, which isn't going to work, is, hey, look, Mysterio's actually alive, guys.
Right.
But then Vulture's going to be important in Mobius moving forward. Like, Morbius, I said Mobius. So, like, I don't know. That's a hard one. Like, who the 6 are going to be. What is your guys' 6? You know, we already have, 4, like, straight up confirmed. So who are you adding here? You got 1 or 2 picks.
Well, the Hobgoblin.
Okay, so are you going to pull an old Hobgoblin, or are you going with the rumors that Ned's going to become Hobgoblin?
Well, so you know, like, how John Watts uses, like, license plates and signs and stuff?
Yeah.
So, like,
oh, we're getting a theory, guys. We're getting a theory. Here we go. I'm just kidding.
But when they're, like, right before, like, the holographic version of the Sandman comes up on Nick Fury and Maria Hill and was that Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
There's like a license plate, and like it's exactly the issue number, like, for the Sandman's first appearance
In the comic books.
And then sure enough, Sandman appears, and then later in the Venice, right?
Yeah.
They're on the boat, and there's like a boat that passes by that has like ASM 212.
Okay.
It stands Amazing Spider-Man issue 212, where Hydro Man appears, and then seconds later, Man appears. But then in Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, when like Peter's on top of the subway and all the subways are like going around him, there's what was the number? It was, I had it written down, 239, and that's the first issue that Spider-Man fights the Hobgoblin. So with John Watts' logic, maybe.
But also in the trailer, you said that on the bridge there's a car with another license plate, and that's the first issue when he fights Dr. Octopus,
And then
he came out in the trailer, right?
Yeah. So
maybe
there you go.
maybe.
Hobgoblin first. I actually haven't heard any of this before, so I haven't seen it or read it or talked about it myself even. I try. There's so many different things with Marvel, and that's the complication, is you could dive into the location of a lamp pole means something, because in issue 799 there was a lamp pole in the exact same spot. So Venom's on his way. So it is cool to see from all of these different perspectives, and that's why it's really fun, and I have been enjoying conversing with you guys over the last week or so. That there is so much that different minds, different eyes will see and pick up, and that's a lot of fun as well. Ghostly Ranger says, that's a good take from the Nobodies. So today I'm also going to be putting in my resignation. I'm handing the channel over to just the Nobodies. No, I'm just kidding. They got really good eyes, guys. If you aren't following on TikTok or on YouTube, make sure you are going to jump on over there, give them a follow, comment down on their stuff, tell them Chris sent you. I have a question. Ryan and Daniel, is Miles coming to the MCU? Miles Morales.
I would really like to see that. I would like to see Miles and a Spider-Gwen. That would be so good.
Hey, I did a video on that today.
It's got to happen. I mean,
so Sony just announced 2 brand new movies in 2023. June, I don't remember the exact dates. June something and October something, I think. They already have Kraven the Hunter coming out in 2023. So on top of that, 2 other ones. Is it Spider-Man 4? Unlikely. Is it Venom 3? Unlikely. I feel like that's a little soon, especially, we have to find out what happens in Multiverse of Madness. There might not be any Earth left after Multiverse of Madness. We might be thrown into the Secret Invasion and Battle World, and Doctor Doom is God Emperor Doom out of, who knows what's going to happen after Multiverse of Madness. So we got to figure all that out. Then Tom Holland's talking about taking a little break and how when we come back to Spider-Man, it's going to be a different tone, a college Spider-Man. So some years are going to pass. I would imagine Sony's sitting there waiting to get Venom out because they did all of this work to get Venom into the MCU. Yeah. But, what other options are there for Sony? There is the ambitious option of starting a brand new Spider-Man, whether Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099. I'd be all about that, So a lot of really cool things that Sony could do with the future of Sony, and they've announced 2 new Spider-Man films. And I mean, what else do they have left to do otherwise is my big question. So right. Spider-Woman, there was all the talk about Olivia Wilde was going to be doing a Spider-Woman film, directing a Spider-Woman film. So it
kind of makes sense now though, because her love, never mind. I don't know. That's older. Never mind.
But yes, Jake, you are correct. Deadpool 3 did get suspended indefinitely. Ryan Reynolds is taking a little break after he just finished filming his movie with Will Ferrell. The big question with that is, I feel like that means that Deadpool's inclusion in the MCU isn't going to be anything immediate. Because Deadpool getting pushed back isn't a huge deal. Unless the only way they're planning on explaining characters making their way over to the MCU is through Multiverse of Madness. Because they're taking a very small group of characters that they are not recasting. So Ryan Reynolds, lots of rumors about Charlie Cox from Daredevil. For me, the cleanest and easiest way to get that done is the multiverse. Doctor Strange opens a portal, Deadpool slips in, now he's here. But the glory of a character like Deadpool, who is my favorite character of all time across any platform, comic book, movie, whatever, always has been. I about lost my mind when they announced the Deadpool movie was happening with Ryan Reynolds. I lost it. I actually have Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe right here.
Nice.
Is he could literally just look at the camera and be like, Disney bought me. I'm in Marvel now. Done. All the explanation you need. Yeah. So it is a little upsetting, I suppose, that it's suspended indefinitely, but it's not going anywhere. There's no need to worry, and definitely no reason to freak out about that, Jake. I'm not saying you are freaking out, but Deadpool is coming, and I'm very excited for it because I love Deadpool.
Yeah, all love
Let's see. I'm going to check with some of you guys. Morbius 2. I don't think it would be Morbius 2 Ghostly Arranger just because we don't even know how Morbius 1 is doing yet. The delay on this film was just insane. Some of these companies, I think, are taking these delays a little bit, like they're using COVID as like an excuse. Like, oh, we need to push the movie back. But I think it's fear because box office numbers now are just insane. Like what you pull in it for a movie, especially with some of these budgets. We were watching the Halloween movies. Michael Myers, 1978. The movie had like a $25 million budget. And it made like $100 million. And everybody's freaking out. Like $100 million is a huge fail nowadays, And we're talking years later, inflation, budgets, the movie scene has changed. But like the standard that these films have to reach, especially superhero films like Morbius or Venom or any of them, is so difficult that it's pretty crazy to try to consider, what are we doing? On that note, though, you guys were talking about wanting a different type of Spider-Man. Like somebody was asked about Miles Morales, a super Miles Morales live action. That's money waiting. Especially after Into the Spider-Verse. How would you guys want that? So Miles Morales, they're asking you specifically, so I'm going to ask you specifically. We get an announcement, Miles Morales movie coming 2023. Would you want it inside the MCU? Would you want Sony to try their own franchise with it? What would you guys prefer to see?
Well, we know Donald Glover, right? He plays his uncle in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would make sense they go in the MCU because his uncle's
Yeah.
there. And we know that he's really close to his uncle.
Right.
I also wouldn't want it to be so closely related to like Tom Holland Spider-Man, because I wouldn't want him to like take the show in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But the attention should always be just on Miles' story.
Yeah. Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Do you
that's.
think he's gonna cut Spider-Man 3?
Do I think he's gonna be in Spider-Man 3? Like No Way Home? No, I don't think so. And that's the thing with the MCU nowadays. And this is something we've been talking about on the channel a lot. I know me and Jake have been talking about this specifically. Hey, Jake. There's so much happening in the MCU right now. And it's almost too much that it's hard to know what to get excited about. You know, let's say you have 100 excitement points to give to any one thing at a time, right? You can only be so excited. Everything can't be the greatest thing of all time, right? So if you have 100 excitement points to give to any one thing at a time, you know, well, 50 of them automatically are going to Spider-Man for everybody. You know, Eternals might be getting 10 from some people. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is getting 30. You know, so you have this finite amount of excitement that you can truly deposit. And if you start throwing, oh, here's Miles Morales. Oh, here's Spider-Gwen. You know, I'm running out of excitement points here. Like, I can only be so excited for so much at one time. I would honestly and personally prefer to see Miles Morales be taken by Sony and Sony do something. And here's why. You know, recently it's come out. Warren did a video on it yesterday, maybe today. I can't remember anymore. About how Kevin Feige went and talked to Sony and said, hey, let's make a Spider-Man movie. They were consulting with Kevin Feige. Hey, how do we make a better Spider-Man movie? We're trying to make Amazing Spider-Man 3 and we have nothing. The second one busted. What can we do? And Kevin Feige was like, it's not going to work. You guys are doing the wrong stuff. He then said, hey, give us Spider-Man. We'll make it work. You know? And Amy Pascal said she cried. Like, she was so upset about it, but she knew he was right. So they take Spider-Man. They make Spider-Man what it is now. I hope that Sony has learned from Feige and from Disney and from their model.
Yeah.
So that they can go take a Miles Morales or a Gwen Stacy or a Spider-Woman and turn it into a super solo franchise.
I guess that was my biggest fear. Was like, when you asked me, MCU or Sony?
Mhm.
If Sony could learn and have guidance from Marvel, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Marvel would probably be involved in the whole process.
Well, they always are, right? She's calling Kevin Feige to consult.
Right. I mean, then I feel like it would be great.
Yeah.
Well, do you think Sony possesses the ability to learn is the question. I'll ask you guys in chat as well. Do you think if Sony says, hey, we're going to take this film and we're going to make Miles Morales trilogy, and it's going to be just about Miles Morales. It's not going to be an Iron Man intro. There's not going to be a Captain America. We're not going to pick up Thor's hammer halfway through. It's just Miles Morales being a kid, figuring out how to be Spider-Man, the cool story, the original story from the comics that's relatively old. You know, it's not, oh, here's a new character, guys. Inclusion. This is a character that's existed. This is a character that did extremely well in an animated setting.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason why they can't take this character, throw him into a trilogy, and make it legendary. And I personally think that's what I would want to see. Because you're exactly right. You throw him in there and then, you know, Black Widow's making an appearance or Doctor Strange is making an appearance. It takes away from him. And that's the same thing Tom Holland's been dealing with. And he's done an amazing job rising above all of that because of how loved Spider-Man is. But Miles Morales is a relatively new character to a lot of fans. You know, they didn't grow up watching Miles Morales or reading Miles Morales. So I do think he needs that time to burst out of his own shell in an individual setting. And I think Sony needs to, you know, stand up, take responsibility, and make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learn.
I mean, and that's the thing is some companies are a little hard-headed. You know, we look at Warner Brothers, and we could transition into a little DC fandom with this. Mm-hmm. Warner Brothers hasn't learned. It's been how many years now of them playing? I'll call it what it is. Catch up to Marvel, who have just been destroying the space, just been absolutely obliterating superhero movies and cinematic universes. And DC just can't quite figure it out. You know, they tried the DCEU, it didn't work. They got rid of some of their headline actors. You know, you have Superman 2 is never coming out because Henry Cavill hated everybody and everybody hated him. And we all are sitting here like, Man of Steel 2, please. And he's like, sorry, I'm the Witcher now. Like,
Yeah.
How deeply, because I know you guys talk about everything, right? I was watching your channel the other day. You're talking about feet. Like, you guys are all over the place. You're not sitting here just Marvel, just DC. What?
That's funny. For people with no context, they talk about feet.
So they did a video the other day talking about different feet shapes, and it's a cool theory video. Definitely go check it out. It talks about, you know, if you have the weird kind of feet, you're not an athlete. If you have the cool kind of feet, you're LeBron James. And it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. And that's something that you guys have done so well in your space is branch out, whereas over here we're just talking about, you know, superheroes all the time. But do you guys like, are you deep in the DC movie stuff? Are you aware of what's going on and all of that?
I wouldn't say we're deep into DC. I mean, we grew up mainly on Marvel.
I think a lot of us did at this point.
Yeah. Well, Christian Bale's Batman. I mean, if we're talking like DC.
Absolutely.
I think it was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and then obviously the Batman movies with Christian Bale were for us. Well, for me, anyways.
Yeah, well, those were like the two main things that we watched when we were younger.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got Iron Man coming along, and then Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So all that stuff taken over on the Marvel side. The big question is then, are you privy to like what's going on now with the Flash movie? Like they're trying to open up the DC universe so that it can be anybody can hang out with anybody at any time.
Right before Multiverse of Madness.
Right before Multiverse of Madness. And I will credit DC. They were the first ones in the comics, in the original Flashpoint comic, to open up a multiverse. So I will give them that. Like, on the comic side, they were first. But, you know, we're doing all this stuff at the same time, because in the Flash movie, they're also doing, 8 Batmans are coming together on one screen, Ben Affleck's coming back, and... Sorry?
I hope the Flash is, like, a good turning point for DC.
Well, that's the way I see it at this point, The Flash is DC's last chance. The DCEU was a failed project. It didn't work. The DCEU, the DC Cinematic Universe, was supposed to be the MCU. It was supposed to be, hey, we're going to build all these characters. Here's Batman. Let's do the Justice League. Actually, let's start with the Justice League. Then we'll, they were all over the place. A lot of the actors didn't manage to stay around. It just was a mess. Because they don't have a Feige type. They don't have somebody above everything just guiding the ship.
Right.
But with this Flash movie, just like you guys just said, and it's 100% accurate, like this is their big shot. If they hit this right, they can open up the DC universe, exit the failed DCEU, and just start doing whatever they need to. And Jim Lee talked about this last year at DC Fandom, not this year, how the DC universe is a never-ending line of parallel universes that once they're pierced, anybody can be anybody. Right. Wonder Woman could be a black girl, or any option is possible. The Joker could be a 3-year-old little girl. It could be anything that they want to do, and there are never-ending parallel universes where that can happen. And you can have 4 different Jokers from time team up to fight 4 different Batman movies. They're going to open up a lot of opportunities with that. The question I'll ask you guys and chat is that something you want to see? Is that something you care about? If they say, okay, the DCEU didn't work, let's open up all of the worlds, anything can happen, we can do whatever we want at this point, and it makes sense because we say it does.
I think it would be good because then it gives them more, I feel it gives them a chance to come back and have people really enjoy it like they do Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of worried, like, with the Marvel movies, how they're going to incorporate, like in the comics, right, how there's multiple universes and all, like, different dimensions stuff. But, like, when I saw Loki...
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, I could kind of see how this can work, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's just that's like a huge concept to like grasp. Like, oh man, how are we gonna be excited for movies and follow like a timeline of like movies when you can go from so many different parts of time?
Mm-hmm.
But they're able to do it, so I'm sure DC will do a good job too.
Oh, I think so, and I think they definitely have the talent and the capability, and I hope they do because you guys saw the Black Adam footage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how insane does that look? It looks incredible. It looks like a lot of really good potential here, and I can't wait for all of that to happen. And they do the same thing they've done for the last 10 years, is they make really good individual movies. Like The Joker was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a great movie, But But once you start trying to do this cinematic universe thing, it's not as easy as it looks. Marvel over here just like whacking home runs nonstop. They're like, oh, we can do that. There's a lot of logistics that goes into it. One, getting actors who will play the part for 10 years.
Right.
You know? Two, making it make sense. Like you were talking about with Loki. Like there is a fear, and I actually have a fear about Marvel that I'm going to bring up here in just a second when we move on from DC. That, you know, there is this big fear that who knows if they're going to be able to capture it. And that's the problem DC had, was not necessarily on screen, because it always looks really good. It always sounds really good. It's the behind the scenes, the logistics, the timelines, the actors, the explaining the characters before they get in, which is what Marvel did so well. They took 10 years to get to Endgame. And they did solo films for every character. So, you know, that's what's happening. Yoshi King says, whoa, just the Nobodies. Mr. Anderson, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So there is that fear there that we don't know necessarily if DC is going to be able to wrap around it, because that logistics is there. And you have to think, you guys are famous actors, and you get a call from DC. Hey, do you want to be in our new DC movie? I mean, what's the first thing you're thinking? Do I? I don't know. You know, because you just saw what happened in the DCEU. You saw Henry Cavill get fired. One of the most famous actors out there right now. You saw maltreatment from directors towards Gal Gadot. You saw Ray Fisher have all these issues. You know, these big actors not having fun over there, not having the glory of the MCU. You're sitting there like, I'm going to give me a month. Let's see if Marvel calls me first, you know? And that's the big problem, is who wants to dedicate 10 years to a sinking ship?
Right. And plus now Marvel, I think they announced, right, that they're only going to do short-term contracts now, like two to 3 years.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the long ones.
Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is there are so many moving parts.
Right.
That they can replace characters if they need to. And it's sad, you know, when you get this tease of a storyline that then doesn't come. Because there's multiple times across the MCU where they teased something and it never happened. You know, a lot of people sitting here like, but they teased Scorpion in the post-credit scene. It's like, yeah, a lot's changed since then. They might not be doing that anymore. And they can change directions. And that's all right, especially when you have the multiverse of madness happening.
I have to say, though.
Go ahead.
Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, I thought that was like a huge turning point.
Yeah.
But then the second
Wonder
one
was so bad.
Yeah.
Didn't
the second one was so bad. And that wasn't acting or CGI or effects. That's just straight up storyline.
Yeah.
You know, they're failing somewhere in the behind the scenes. You know, Gal Gadot is a fantastic Wonder Woman. She's going to be hard to ever match. You know, and you know, Pascal did a great job. There was a lot of really good moments. But overall, you're sitting there watching. You get to the end, you're like, well, I just wasted 2 hours.
Right. Oh, Chris. Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad.
Great individual movie.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like the Joker and like Suicide Squad. I totally forget that's the DC.
Yeah, that's all the same stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, when they announced this they announced the new Suicide Squad, James Gunn Suicide Squad, as a reboot sequel.
I know, what a concept.
And you're just like, what is happening over there? And that movie on its own, you don't connect it to anything. Fantastic. A great time was had. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was a lot of fun. I got a lot of good laughs. They did the Suicide Squad. They killed everybody, you know? James Gunn is a genius and a freak, and I love it. And you're 100% right, you know? And then you have the Peacemaker series coming off of it, which I actually think is going to be the first DC TV show worth watching.
Yeah.
And that's because you have James Gunn. You have big names. You have big actors. It's not some random nobodies with a low budget, terrible acting, you know? And Batwoman. The series is so bad.
Yeah.
The acting is so... Like, you guys and I and Warren and my wife, we could go probably make a better series than they're doing right now. Like, with my iPhone. Like, it is that bad. And I don't mean disrespect to the actors or to the writers. It just is. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. And it's kind of the same for a lot of their stuff. And I know a lot of you guys are out there like, oh, I like it. That's fine. You can. 90% of people don't. And if we're going back to what we talked about earlier in the same conversation about excitement tokens... Right. None of my excitement tokens are going to Batwoman. They're just not. I don't have enough to spare to send them that way. I just don't care. You know, you're lucky they're going to Suicide Squad. Much less are they going to Batwoman, you know? So that's a lot of potential fear and potential worry for DC, because not only are they going up against Marvel, they're barely competing against themselves. So definitely a lot of worry there. And I do want to transition into my big fear for Marvel right now. And I say this, and I'll start it off and preface it by, in Marvel we trust, in Feige we trust. They have really not let us down to this point. Like, if you really back up and you look at each individual moment and how it is connected and cultivated into what it has.
Yeah.
The issue for Marvel is they can't do that now. They can't do 10 years of solo films and a couple Avengers movies to lead up to something big. That's gone. Because now the precedent is set for Endgame. Everybody's expecting every movie to be Endgame all the time, and if it's not, it's a failure. You know, you can't stick Ironheart in a cave and say, go make an Iron Man suit and let's have fun watching you become the beautiful character that you are. Those days are done. You know, Marvel is constantly and never ending on the coals to create masterpieces.
Yeah.
My specific fear is now they've opened the multiverse. They need to define the multiversal laws. They explained the multiverse with Loki. They said, hey, Loki, this is going to explain the multiverse. That was the purpose of the show. You know, there was a lot of really cool stuff there. They introduced Kang, which is really fun. But I think the main purpose, and they did it in the very first episode, was, okay, we're planning on going into the multiverse. We need to take an entire Disney Plus series to explain what it is.
Right.
And they did that, and they did a great job. And I understood way more than I did before Loki what the multiverse in the MCU was and how it worked, why there wasn't any multiverse prior, because, you know, the sacred timeline. Awesome job. Now it's all in Desiree, and you see at the very end the weird space veins just all over the place.
Yeah.
And we don't know up to this point how that's going to affect the MCU and the sacred timeline moving forward.
Right.
That's true.
So I'm worried that if Marvel doesn't quickly define, and this is what Multiverse of Madness is for, I presume, but if they don't define, this is what the multiverse is, this is how it works, that they're going to potentially get lazy with it and be like, oh, well, we really need this actor to show up, so multiverse, that's the answer. Oh, we want Iron Man to be back alive, so multiverse, that's the answer. Oh, you need an Infinity Stone, just go grab one from the multiverse. Like, oh, Iron Man needs a new suit, just go grab one from... Like, I'm really worried that that might be the case. Because, and it goes back to what I originally said, they don't have time to build that anymore. They can't do 3 Iron Man movies to show how he got to where he is. They need to... Right. And the multiverse is the quickest way to get what they need to get and explain it without any issues. And I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? Yeah, right.
What I really liked about that, in What If, I remember it was the Doctor Strange episode where they talk about definite moments.
Oh yeah, absolute moments.
Absolute moments.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that almost every time Tony Stark died.
That was an absolute moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, will they be able to bring certain people back? Because absolute moments exist. So certain things are bound to happen no matter what. I feel like that was a good time to put it in. Like, this is what can't happen. This won't come back.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Could they grab him from, like... So obviously we see he snaps, right?
Yeah.
Could you grab him before the snap? And bring him, you know what I mean, like an older version, a younger version.
I see.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't know, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
right. And it's not I don't know because I haven't been paying attention. That's my life. That's my job. That's what I do for a living. Is I pay attention. There isn't a defined point A to point B in multiversal law, and we need one.
Right.
And if they don't establish one soon, it's going to get too big. It's going to get too confusing. You know, I mean, like I said, I sit here, you guys sit here, Warren sits here, we talk about this stuff for hours. It's our job. It's what we do for a living, is dissect, analyze, understand, so that we can make it easier for people who don't have that kind of time to understand.
Right.
If we can't understand it, how is the layman viewer going to understand it? And that's not even the people here in chat. The people in chat often know more than I do. But the people who aren't on YouTube, who aren't on TikTok, that aren't obsessed with our casual viewers, oh, there's a new Spider-Man film, let me go watch it. What the heck, there's 3 Spider-Men. They don't know because they haven't been paying attention. You know, that's probably a good 40-50% chunk of the viewership. You know, they might not have seen Loki. How are they going to be able to follow Multiverse of Madness if they haven't been sitting there obsessively watching every minute of Marvel? It's getting very big. It's getting very heavy. It's getting very deep, and it's getting confusing if they don't define these laws. And that's my huge, huge fear moving in to the future of Marvel.
Right. I was encouraged by Shang-Chi, but I guess at the same time, we haven't really had the effects of the multiverse really kick in.
Mm-mm.
So we'll see, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
and then let me throw this one on you guys. The Eternals. All of the comments we've seen about the Eternals, and I haven't seen it, guys. No spoilers, worry not.
We haven't seen it either.
All of the comments have said this movie is unpacking so much. There's so much to get here. And my understanding is that doesn't even touch the multiverse stuff. All that does is leave the intimate bubble of the Avengers. You know, we've spent the last 12 years watching nothing but the Avengers and a little bit of the Guardians of the Galaxy so that they could team up with the Avengers. We've had this tiny little intimate speck in a vast universe, not multiverse, universe of gods, celestials, explanations of things that we haven't even looked at yet. Just in one universe, they're going on about how the Eternals unpacks all this, and it's so mind-blowing. But when you scale that up to something like the multiverse, it's irrelevant. That's how big the multiverse is. That the entirety of the Sacred Timelines universe is nearly irrelevant next to understanding the multiverse. And we don't understand anything about it yet. We haven't seen Eternals.
Right.
So where are the explanations of the multiverse, much less the universe that we still haven't really explored yet? It's a lot. Yeah. There is so much coming our way and so many movies, which is why, in a way, I was kind of grateful for these delays. What was it, a 4-month delay for Multiverse of Madness, and everything kind of followed suit. We need to be able to breathe. You know, and fans are all disappointed. Oh, no, delays. It's like, no, guys. Like, they're putting out 6 movies and 5 Disney Plus projects in a year. Like, you don't understand how much that is. All the while trying to rebuild an entire regime because all the original Avengers are gone. Trying to rebuild the Avengers completely. We need the new Avengers. Trying to rebuild our understanding of time. Trying to explain the entire universe and how Celestials work and how Eternals work and how Deviants work. You know, and somewhere in there, trying to introduce a big bad, whether it's Galactus or somebody else. Oh, and not to mention Venom's there now. And here comes Deadpool. And also maybe Charlie Cox. There's so much going on. It's intimidating. As a fan, it's intimidating. I can only imagine what the executives are over there in a room with several locked doors leading to it with just this crazy spiderweb map. Spiderweb, huh? I mean, what would you guys do? You know, you're Feige. What's your plan here?
Jeez.
It's pretty crazy.
Try to communicate more with like people like you and Warren. You know, like try to understand, get input. You know.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I don't think Feige cares what we think, but
Well, I think it's smart to go to like the people that are like promoting your movies. You know.
Oh, 100%.
Because you guys are constantly talking to an audience, and you kind of know what audiences want.
Yeah, I know what you guys want.
Yeah. Kevin Feige's kind of just looking from afar, right, from a broad numbers side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he's a fan, so he's done a great job.
He's the biggest fan of all of us, and that's why I prefaced this whole thing. You know, in Feige I trust, and Marvel I trust. They haven't let me down yet, but I do feel that this is a question that requires noticing. Like, there is this big, huge ball of intensity in front of us for Marvel, and I don't know. I don't have an answer.
It give me a headache, kind of like
trying to wrap your head around it. It's a lot. You know, and Doctor Strange is the answer, right? We know this. It's called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Does Doctor Strange end with the multiverse closed? Does Doctor Strange seal it and we know it's there and it's going to open up later for maybe a Secret Wars or a Battle World? And it's patched up for the moment? Or does it just fall into this absolute chaos that Doctor Strange couldn't control, and now there's just portals and connections, and Secret Wars right around the corner, and Battle Worlds is right around the corner? We're not ready for Battle Worlds. We don't know any of the new characters yet, you know? So I think the best connection here I'll get to your super chat in just a second, Jake, is to close the multiverse. We're aware that it exists.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor Strange somehow managed it, whether he had to get Sorcerer Supreme from What If, or the Watcher had to step, whatever happens, there was some type of connected power to close that multiverse up, to get control of it. And now we know Kang is lurking in the background. We'll see him in Quantumania, where he can start to be introduced to the characters. For me, that is the easiest remedy for the immediate future. Obviously, it's all still there, and it's going to be explored.
Right.
But I do think it actually does need to be closed up. What do you guys think?
That would make it more easy on the audience.
As a fan,
Yeah.
that makes me go,
Right.
I need
But
to
we got
breathe.
Quantumania coming out with King the Conqueror, so
Yeah.
that comes after Multiverse, right?
After Thor.
Okay. So it's a couple years after Doctor Strange?
Not years. I think it's late 2022. Or maybe early 2023. I can't remember. We got a lot coming out. It's hard to remember the order of everything. But it's not far away, no. But, you know, that's Quantum Realm. Not necessarily multiverse.
Yeah.
Or maybe that is multiverse. Who knows? I'm going to answer super chat real quick, guys. Jake Hedge, thanks for the $5. Says, do you think the downfall of Marvel will be having too many projects going on at once? We already saw confusion from creators from the shows we have now. I'll let you guys cover that.
Yeah, man. It does, having so many projects at once does get overwhelming. But I don't think that will be the downfall of Marvel. I think they always seem to pull out of it.
Yeah,
they always seem to somehow to make us happy.
That's the thing, right? They haven't let us down yet, so why would we assume that they will?
Right.
But yet is a very ominous word.
Let's hope, Jake, that it doesn't go down that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there it is. I agree with them. Like, I am hopeful. I'm not pessimistic on the matter, but I do think it does need to be addressed, which is why I'm talking about it, and I've talked about it several times now live with you guys. And I thought, while I have, you know, some astute minds of theories and breakdowns here with me, I should see what they think. But it is curious when you really put it into perspective. If you back out on the timeline, you know, Iron Man's over here and we're here, and then there's just this glob of destruction, darkness, and terrifyingness in front of us that, you know, I'll call myself a trained professional of breaking down and understanding movies. That's going to be complicated for anybody. So, like I was saying, you have to imagine the executives are sitting there like, how are we going to unspool this? And they want Fantastic Four. And they want X-Men. And, like, where are we going to fit the X-Men into all of this? We have so much going on, you know?
Right.
It's a lot to unpack. And then they're introducing Eternals. And now we have Thor Love and Thunder. And that's happening somewhere else. And don't worry, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming. And we're gonna need some oxygen tanks to get through this stuff. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's a lot. And not on top of that, they're doing projects every 2 months. And Disney Plus happens behind during that. You know, Hawkeye is happening during both Eternals and Spider-Man. And how important is Hawkeye? Well, it's just Hawkeye, maybe not. Well, I think Hawkeye could be the Nick Fury of the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
He could be in charge of rounding them all up. So actually pretty important when you really think about it. And
Right.
it's a lot.
Hope I feel like the Hulk and Hawkeye, hopefully this phase of like the Marvel movies, they can kind of like let them be able to have the roles more important than like, you know, like how obviously Tony Stark, Captain America, right? We're always the head honchos.
Right.
But it's kind of cool to see like some of these characters that didn't have that role necessarily.
Kind of fall into it.
Yeah.
Well, you already seen that with Sam,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
right? And he's going to be a leader of the new Avengers. There's no way he isn't, right? There's no way Captain America exists and he isn't leading the Avengers, you know?
Right.
And I'm not sure what the deal with Ironheart is. My understanding is we're getting a Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she'd fall into the Young Avengers. So there still will be that void of Tony Stark in the new Avengers. But somebody's going to have to fall into that role. You know, you're going to have the Captain America and Tony Stark. I think the precedent that those two are constantly leading the Avengers from their different polar opposite perspectives is important.
Right.
You know, you can't just have Sam down there calling all the shots. There needs to be an opposition to his will, which for the original Avengers was Tony and Steve.
Right.
So, and this is crazy because we're sitting here talking about the Avengers, which is nice and normal and what we should be talking about. But then again, in the back of my head behind me is like, does any of it matter? The multiverse is just going to eat it all up.
Yeah.
And that's it's crazy, isn't it? It's intimidating, guys. It's scary. It's so much.
A lot.
And then here comes Moon Knight in a Disney Plus series, and here comes the Marvels, and
Did you see that William Dafoe was like having lunch with Oscar Isaac and Mark Ruffalo out where they're shooting Moon Knight?
no, I didn't. That's
Yeah. So they're saying that.
oh man, I hope that they have a grip on it. I believe they do. There's so much coming, and there's so much more. Like I said, Fantastic Four hasn't even been addressed. Mutants haven't even been addressed. We got Ursa Major and Black Widow. Like, they didn't even confirm that wasn't actually a mutant. Like, yeah.
Remember in Venom, we saw it together. When they kind of mentioned mutants.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that like the first time?
They didn't specifically mention it, but the character that was created from Venom at the end, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment, is a mutant in the comics. Yes,
Right.
though his eyes flash blue. Right, he's a mutant in the comics.
Oh. I just remember sitting in the theater. I thought they mentioned like maybe not mutant, but was it like mutation or something?
Potentially, they used the word mutation. I'm not catching exactly what you saw. I missed that. I know the character that was taken and created from the cop is a mutant in the comics.
Uh-huh.
But again, how much does that matter? Because how many characters got pulled over from that?
Right.
Maybe he did. Maybe he's running around the MCU too. I don't know. Multiverse. That's the big answer is, it's the multiverse. It doesn't matter. Who knows? Just reading a couple chats, seeing if anybody has any questions real quick. And it's where we've gotten to in the last 12 years or so with superhero movies and TV shows and cinematic universes. I don't think anybody ever anticipated it being this big.
Yeah. No.
I
way.
mean, even after the first Avengers movie came out, we still didn't anticipate it being this big.
Yeah.
And I guess final thoughts on the topic before we move on to something else from each of you. Do you think it's getting too big?
Ooh. Every time I think that, they shock me with, and it works out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Okay.
I know that times where I was like, oh wow, like what are they gonna do from here? And then they shock me. And then Loki comes out, then WandaVision, and all these shows, and I was like, okay, well, it's exciting.
I don't think it's too much either. I think, oh man.
But then you think about it and you're like, maybe it is.
I'm like, wow. Because we were talking about it the other day. When we were watching the Avengers, right? We had this story to follow. It was a constant story that we followed. But now that the multiverse is out, you can be pulling stories from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really definite to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be good though.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I mean, that's the hope, right?
Even though that happens like in Loki, you can still kind of follow like Loki's like what he sees, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of like brings everything back
Mm-hmm.
to like there's something to follow.
Yeah.
Even though all this stuff is going on, like the core characters, like the original Doctor Strange, will have to fix everything, so you can follow his point of view.
I see. Yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the Disney Plus shows are going to be extremely important in helping maintain that stabilization. And Kevin Feige said that before we even got the first one, months before we got the first one. They asked him, hey, Feige, Disney Plus shows coming out, is that to help promote Disney Plus, or are these going to be important to the MCU? And he's like, you're not going to understand what's happening in the MCU if you don't watch the Disney Plus shows. Like, full send, not like, oh, yeah, no, you will not know what's going on if you aren't watching the Disney Plus shows. They're that important. And we've seen that with WandaVision now directly tying into Multiverse of Madness, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new Captain America, who's going to be the staple of the Avengers moving forward.
Right.
Then you have Loki, which was just an absolute dictionary on all things multiverse, plus everything happening in timelines since the history of time, and Kang. These are huge reflections on the future of MCU movies, and we haven't gotten to them yet because what have we had? Shang-Chi and now Eternals, neither of which are going to touch on anything, but now we're getting Spider-Man, which is going to start talking about multiverse stuff. Then Doctor Strange, where it all kind of, Doctor Strange for me, it really is the moment where I'll know if Marvel has a grip on this or not.
Yeah.
Like, if I leave Doctor Strange, and it's going to be tough, let's say it's a 3-hour movie, because it's almost got to have to be. If I leave Doctor Strange with confidence that I understand what's going on, I will feel a lot better if it kind of bottlenecks everything and just kind of contains it for just a second.
Right.
And I hope that's the case. Jake says, seriously, Marvel is like, let's do space stuff. Oh, it just moved right as I was reading it. Let's do space stuff. Let's do magic stuff. Let's do multiverse stuff. Let's do secret agent stuff. Let's do monster stuff with vampires and stuff. It's too much.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to hold off any actual opinion on it. I'm right at the moment just posing a question because I think it's a question that has to be asked. But when Doctor Strange comes out, I will know more where I lean to as to whether or not I'm actually worried about Marvel. At the moment, much like you guys, they haven't let me down yet. Let's get to this bottleneck moment with Multiverse of Madness. Hopefully it's going more inward and not outwards for explanation and understanding.
Right.
Lots of excitement, guys. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us up to this point. Still a lot more coming. I want to take a moment just to chat with you guys to your success, a little bit about your guys' story. Obviously, you guys are just crushing it on TikTok. 5 million. Let me get the exact number for you. It's got a flex for you. It's 5.9 million followers, 145 million likes. I mean, I don't think you get 1 million on everything, right? Yeah, you're pushing 12 million, 4 million, 8 million. So you guys, without question, are just crushing the space. Question 1, what got you into it?
Well, man, just like we said before, like growing up, just watching these movies, watch not even superhero like DC, Marvel. It was everything. It was always like, because we'd watch them and we'd talk with our friends. Hey, what's gonna happen in the next one?
Yeah.
What's gonna be the next thing?
Those long car rides home.
Yeah.
With like when you're dropping off your friends like everyone's house and you guys are talking in the car like what's gonna happen next, and then you guys get on like Xbox Live and you're talking about it more.
But yeah, I think that's what motivated us to kind of start, because even people said like you guys should just talk about this on a podcast.
Yeah.
So, like,
Nice.
let's just.
So you guys were the friends in the group that like everybody came to ask questions then?
Pretty much.
I guess. Yeah.
We're the annoying ones that want
to. That's probably more likely, I bet. Okay, so you're sitting here like, wow, we have all these knowledge. In case you guys didn't know, they are brothers. So constantly with each other, probably annoying their families and friends, talking about movies all the time. Let's start a podcast. Cool. So TikTok was your first run at it? Have you started somewhere else? What?
I guess. Well, I've been in social media probably for like 7 years.
Okay.
Just trying different things.
Okay.
If it was streaming, Fortnite, cooking, you name it, I pretty much have tried it. So I have friends that have podcasts, and they're like, just start one, just do it.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right. At least we're like, I'm glad that we're talking about stuff that we're passionate about.
Yeah.
Like we're not stuck like, oh, like we don't want to talk about this. But
yeah.
We get to pick what we want to talk about, and like we take suggestions from like, I don't want to say fans, but like supporters, and
you guys are fans.
If
you're in chat and you know who they are, and you think you're a fan of them, let me know.
We appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
And like our name, like we're just the Nobodies. Like where we grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
And just turned on a camera,
That's awesome.
Gotta get lucky. It's just luck.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like that sometimes, and I've been doing YouTube full time for almost 4 years now. And you do sit there and you ponder on it. You only have so much control of what people choose to watch. You can learn the algorithm. You can put on your best shirt and do your hair in the coolest way, make the funniest jokes. But there are people out there who I will admittedly say are better than us that don't get that opportunity because they don't get picked up or they don't get seen, and it does happen. So there is, and I'll say from my perspective, we're in the same boat. Thank you to all of you guys, for clicking on our videos and for sitting here. I've had 60 plus of you guys watching us sit here just talking about Marvel stuff for 40 minutes now, and that's awesome, and we're grateful for that opportunity. But it really does come back down to a passion that you guys have been able to harness and find. Me and Warren have been able to harness and find, and we're excited about it, and we go home and we break it down and we talk about it, and now we're starting to get to these crazy levels. We're invited to premieres and fan events, and that's why I met these guys in person for the first time at the Venom event. We talked in the back by the water cooler trying to avoid everybody for like an hour about golf and about all sorts of stuff. And it's super cool to have that opportunity, and you guys are 100% right. Coca Goody says, I'm a fan.
Oh, thank you so much.
John says, I'm a fan.
Appreciate you guys.
And it's 100% true. They are fans of us, and you guys are what make this possible, is because there comes a time in this saturated market with so many YouTubers and TikTokers and podcasts that you guys have to choose who you're going to watch. And the fact that they choose to watch you, or they choose to watch me or Warren or other people in our specific group where we're working on this, that's because they like you. And it's true. They could go anywhere to see a Spider-Man trailer reaction or a theory about Spider-Man's. How many people talked about the cover of Empire magazine? And you're sitting there with 1.4 million views. People wanted to see what you guys had to say about it. 30 people talked about it within the hour. But, the views and the excitement is there for sure. John says he's a fan as well.
Thank you.
So here you are. What are your aspirations? Have you thought about it? Have you thought that far to like, hey, this is really cool? What's the move for you guys?
I think we're still kind of like shocked at it's like really shocking to see when people like want to watch the videos. I think because all this time, right, I would like post like Fortnite videos, like cooking videos. We would do all these different things. I used to fill up a fish tank full of food and surprise Deanna with it on TikTok. So we've done a lot of different things, and just to be able to sit down and talk about things we enjoy, I still it's hard to wrap my head around that people want to watch that.
Yeah.
So I guess we have a lot of goals, but I don't know. We're taking one step at a time right now.
That's really all you can do. That's really all you can do, because it is insane. The love that everybody has for these movies or for these theories or for Squid, the excitement that Squid Game, it was a tidal wave. Squid Game. Netflix just put out the final report for Squid Game. 160 million households watch Squid Game. Now keep in mind, almost everybody is sharing Netflix accounts. I don't know if there's a Netflix account out there that doesn't have at least 2 different households using it. So multiply that by at least 2. Right? So let's say 300 million households. And that's not individual people. That's a household. So my family has 6 people in it. So one of those households is 6 people. That is an insane number. It was a tidal wave. And that really does mark to the happiness and the excitement and the unity that we all get from Marvel, DC, Netflix series, whatever it be. And it is just overwhelming, almost even more overwhelming than the multiverse. It's It's crazy. It's insane. And it's super cool. We sit here every week. I'm here and I'm talking with you guys. You chat live, and there's always people here asking questions. There's always people here who want more, who need to know more. And it was the coolest thing. You talked about Twitch streaming, and my wife streams. She was playing Fortnite for the longest time. I think she just retired from Fortnite because she's just done with it. She's playing New World right now. But the coolest part about it was the community.
Yes.
Being able to build a group. And she had a pretty successful stream at one point where she was pushing for partners. She was almost there. People would come and they'd be friends with each other across the world, across the country. People who maybe felt like outsiders or who were going through a hard time were able to commune and have a group, have a community where they could feel like they had friends, where they could feel like they belonged. And that's the coolest thing about these internet groups of Discords or live streams, podcasts, YouTube channels, TikTok spots. I see the same people every single stream come and say hi, you know, and that's shout out to Jake and Ghostly Ranger and Mr. Anderson and Teague, all of you guys. And I know I missed a lot of names, but it is really cool to see that. And that's something I hope you guys are able to see in your community specifically. And, you know, as our communities merge here on this super cool opportunity, it just makes a bigger and happier family. And I think that's super cool. You know, a ton of people here obviously already know who you were. Like, I didn't see a single comment like, who are these two guys? Why are they on your channel? You know, everybody's like, oh my gosh, look who it is. You know, I sent a screenshot, the picture I took to my brother. And he went, not going to lie, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, my God.
You know? So it is crazy to build that community and to get into that direction. Now, back on the topic of movies and fun stuff, you guys talk about a ton of stuff.
Like feet.
Like feet. What's your favorite topic that you guys talk about? What do you guys get really into? You know, I know you guys have had a lot of success talking about Squid Game, a lot of success talking about Spider-Man, but when it comes down to it, what is it that you guys just love talking about? What's your favorite topic?
Probably Marvel for me.
Yeah. Marvel's definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah. Any specific thing about Marvel, or is it just if it's Marvel, let me get it?
If it's Marvel, let me get it.
Yeah.
Whenever that's what's great about Marvel, right? Like you said, every 2 months they're pumping out something new. Yeah. So there's always something new.
Mm-hmm. A lot of excitement there, and they have treated the fans very, very well. And that's why, you know, we come into Culture Catch Up, and I'll talk to you guys, chat. The intention is to talk about all things major movie and television news. Dune came out this week. You know, Eternals is coming out around the corner. DC fandom happened. There's a second season of Squid Game coming. So much stuff happening, you know. We're always talking about Marvel. We're always like, I spend 80% of every podcast, every live stream talking about Marvel. One, because that's what you guys are asking. And it just is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody in the space. And it's exciting. You know, I remember looking up on YouTube when I was 10, what are the Infinity Stones? You know, because
your guys' videos.
Yeah, so I watched somebody's videos back in the day. I probably was Comic Books Explained or Comic Book Cast explaining what the Infinity Stones were before I even knew you could make money on YouTube.
Right.
And now here I am, and here you guys are, and it's like, this is the coolest thing ever. Just Marvel has done the unthinkable in this digital age with these opportunities, and I do hope that they continue it on in that direction overall.
What's your favorite?
I think Marvel too, but also just theories in general. The fact that you can go into like a show or a movie and just pick little things out and then try to formulate something on it. I just think that's what's fun for me about it.
And there's a lot of stuff in real life theories like that are exciting to talk about too.
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Not
to put you on the spot, but what do you mean by that?
For example, that, or but like even like science facts,
Mm-hmm.
like the other day I talked about a science fact about video games are healthy for people.
I saw
and
it.
like they help people.
Uh-huh.
I think I saw a TED Talk, and there was a study at a college. They took 77 students, and they all took the same test.
Mm-hmm.
They split them into two groups. They said one group is going to play the video game Portal 2 for 8 hours. And then the other group is going to do academic exercises for 8 hours. And then they took the test again, and the video game players increased their scores by 80%.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, but they do studies on it, and it's I don't know.
I mean, there is the stimulation of the mind that is so important. Being able to have different parts of your brain activated, and something like Portals isn't just, hey, aim and shoot mindlessly. There is a lot of thoughts, geometry, and metrics that go into that, and that's super cool. I'm sure there are, you know, to challenge or study games that are mindless. But I think there are an overwhelming majority of them. One that build communication skills, social skills that a lot of people wouldn't have the opportunity to do in the real world because I'm not strong enough to throw a football. You know, there are opportunities in the social digital world that we would miss in the real world for a lot of individuals. And that goes back to talking about the communities that we're able to build. And what I was saying with my wife, how some people felt safe, like they could be included, and that's super cool. And overall, you know, those theories are what connect us all. And I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, with what you've done on Cosmic Culture, and obviously with you and Warren on Cosmic Wonder, you guys have built like a really positive community. Like social media can be very toxic.
Can be.
So
Usually is.
Like for us, we're just, that's why the name is Just the Nobodies, and we're all about trying to create a positive community, just like what you guys are doing. You already done. Look at it. All very evident.
Yeah.
And just to try to be those, you know, positive outlets for people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, use your voice and your influence to spread some love and positivity, and I think the intent of a creator is always important. And I know, you know, it's all skin deep. You show what you want to show when you want to show it, and a lot of creators have their intentions. And I'll say this to chat and everybody: these guys are super cool. You know, I invited them to be on my podcast because I like them as people.
We like you.
You know, so. They are as nice, if not nicer, than they show up on the internet. It's not just all an act. They're actually really, really nice guys. So hopefully I can help your stock in them go up. Jake, you're talking about Dune. Jake says, Dune roped me in better than I was expecting. You guys haven't seen it just yet.
No.
And I'm not going to talk any spoilers. I know the movie just came out. But I 100% agree with this comment. I went into Dune not excited. I actually said to Warren, he's like, oh, Dune's out. I'm like, I'm not really that excited for it. Because I just wasn't. Nothing I saw in any of the footage or, you know, my understanding of Dune from the book and the old movie that came out, I was just like, eh. He was relatively excited for it, and Warren's pretty excitable about movies. You've all seen his channel. We watched this 3-hour-long movie, and I actually really enjoyed it. And Warren actually liked it less, which for any of you guys who watch Warren and I's breakdowns of movies or reactions to movies, it's always the other way around. Very rarely do I like a movie more than Warren. He always loves movies, and I'm usually like, it was okay. You know, I left this one going, I'm in. You know, it was a 3-hour-long movie explaining lore that nobody really knows. Different races, different languages, political issues. You know, there's the whole political issue about this one specific planet. There's an emperor in charge of everybody, but there's groups of free people, and the emperor sends this one person, but it's a trap, and so much cool stuff. But it wasn't nonstop fighting and action. There were really cool moments. But I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, and I'm so excited for part 2. Because this was part 1, right? It leaves you on this gigantic cliffhanger. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a 3-part, like 3 hours each, like Lord of the Rings saga type.
I heard the book is huge.
The book's like this thick.
Yeah.
Like, it's gigantic. And it actually, for those of you who don't know, predates Star Wars. And many people even say, and I don't know if this is accurate, but many people say it's Star Wars' inspiration. That the idea for Star Wars came from Dune. I can't speak to the truth of that. Apparently they came out very, very similar times. And I don't know if you've seen clips from the original Dune, but it was definitely nothing exciting.
Right.
It was pretty bad looking, actually. Especially when you compare it to Star Wars, which for its time was years ahead of itself. Right. But that is what I've heard. I don't know if it's always accurate. So on top of all of that, I'm in there. I'm learning the lore because I'm not a Dune expert by any means. So they have to explain all of this. They have to mouth feed all of this to me, like, here. And I'm sitting there like, all these names, the treaties, and the Freeman, and this planet, and that planet, and the house of this, and this guy, and they all look different, and they all speak different languages. And it did give me a really cool space Lord of the Rings vibe, though. Because Lord of the Rings is like that. Like, the lore... Like, if you've read the book, maybe you have a little bit of understanding, but let's be honest, the majority of you guys haven't, and I won't believe you if you told me you have. It kind of throws it at you like, yeah, this is Middle-earth, and this is this group of people, and the Hobbits and the Shire, and this location, and you, like, figure out the map of the whole thing in your head, because they didn't have drawn-out maps at the time, and you're like, there's so much happening, and they're all speaking different languages and different weapons with different abilities and different landscapes and biomes, and there's this one ring to rule them all, and the elves actually hate the dwarves, but they have to team up to fight against them. It's so much. It's so much. And then when you really narrow it down, it's 9 hours of people walking around in the forest. But we love it. It's fantastic because it is cool to be taken to a different world. to be
Yeah.
taken to a different imagination that somebody came up with this. And this is old. This isn't new. This is from late 60s, early 70s, I believe, the original book. So somebody sat down and said, let me create an entire universe. And then they do it with modern day digital technology, really amazing actors, from Jason Momoa to Zendaya to, like, they all killed it. Rebecca Ferguson is just stunning on screen, as she always is. Like, just Isaac Oscar
Oscar Isaac.
yeah, you can't have two first names. It drives me nuts. Oscar Isaac. I'm dyslexic already. Stop making it hard for me. Oscar Isaac killed it. Like, everybody just threw it out of the park. I will say to it, and this is something that if you guys as fans, both you and the chat, are just sitting there waiting for nonstop action, you're going to be a little bored. People comment saying it was a little slow. I said on Twitter, hey, I'm going to be watching this movie. Let me see how it is. And I had like 4 or 5 different comments like, it was a little slow. I don't mind that. I am all right being fed lore and background stories.
That you feel like whenever you can enter like a new universe where they're actually doing a good job explaining it and you feel invested, that's because right now, right, it's just DC, Marvel, Star Wars, like it's very
one-sided.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and I hope you guys like get to see it soon and you enjoy it as much as I did. Don't be expecting action-packed nonstop. There is like 10 minutes of walking across the desert trying not to get eaten by a worm, but
that's exciting.
It's exciting. You know, it is for me because we're learning about the characters and the location. Let's see what you guys are saying about Dune. I just read Dune for the first time. I'm very excited for the movie. Hopefully it will be good, but I don't know. Teague, I enjoyed it. And if you love Lord of the Rings, Teague. So you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy it a lot. Jake says, I had little interest in it. After 35-40 minutes, I was like, okay, let's go. I was the exact same way. Once they like really started merging all of it, they explain the lore for the very like beginning of it. They do a very good job of laying it out. Super, super exciting as well. What's my favorite trailer from the past 2 weeks? Go. What was your favorite trailer from the past 2 weeks?
Let's see. Well, you got to throw Black Adam in there.
Yeah.
And the Flash.
The Flash.
Okay.
And
the Batman. Yeah. So which was your favorite?
Oh gosh,
man.
We'll throw the Spider-Man trailer in there too, just for the fun of it.
Oh, why you gotta do that?
Because I gotta make it hard on you.
Yeah, Spider. Gosh, past 2 weeks.
Well, he's also throwing Spider-Man in it.
Oh, then Spider-Man.
I think it's just safe to say Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Black Adam.
Okay.
Because my excitement for a trailer doesn't define my excitement for the movie. You know? So if we're talking trailers and the excitement that comes from with it, I'm going to rate it off of the surpass of expectations. You know, the Spider-Man trailer, as cool as it is, was what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already very excited for that. The trailer didn't get me any more excited than I already was, quite frankly. Like, it was cool to see it and confirm some stuff, but I was already pretty excited for it.
Right.
So the purpose of a trailer is to get people excited for films. So I'm going to give it to Black Adam because it was pumped. It was awesome, guys. Like, if you haven't seen the little footage, it wasn't a real trailer. It was an intro sequence, but it was so well done. And I already love The Rock. I have a huge man candy crush on Rock. I think he's just the coolest guy ever. I have all of his Under Armour clothes, and he owns Voss Water, and I'll drink Voss Water, Terramana. You know, name one thing he's involved in, I got it. I have freaking Funko Pops of The Rock. I love The Rock. But as far as the purpose of a trailer is to, you know, build up excitement, that sequence, that trailer that we got, did that the most for me.
Yeah. Without even saying a word.
Yeah.
Just turning the guy into dust.
Yeah.
Catching the bullet. Oh, it's super awesome. Super awesome.
I thought Adam was going to take place like long. He was going to go.
It starts there. I think it starts there.
Okay.
I think the original intro sequence is explaining how he got his powers. And I think, if my understanding is correct, he gets, like, imprisoned for 4,000 years or something like that.
Oh, weird.
So he's back in, I don't know if it's the Egyptians or the Romans or the Greeks or some other civilization we've never heard of. He's back then. He gets this power. I'm going to assume he was, like, you know, if I understand modern days and stuff, he was probably like a slave for the Egyptians or something, and he got all this power, and they ended up imprisoning him. And 4,000 years later, they're looking for Shazam, and they free him somehow. Is what seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. Absolutely would be cool. All right. So, I'm having a blast, but I always try to keep these to an hour. I'm already well past an hour. That's because of the great company from you guys and from everybody. I'm going to go ahead and open up chat. Anybody have some last-minute questions while we finish up this conversation? Go ahead and throw them out. We'll finish up here within the next 5-10 minutes. Just so much happening in the moviescape. Not even just Marvel. You know, we sat here and we talked for a while, and you guys had some awesome points. I loved everything you guys said. You made this a really fun and exciting episode for me.
With us. This is a lot of fun.
It's a blast, and just getting to sit down and talk with some guys who are just as nerdy as I am about movies for an hour and a half is a blast. I called them the other night. I was helping them set up Discord. I was supposed to talk to them for like 10 minutes, guys, because I had something I was doing. I was like, yeah, I can explain, because they've not been on anybody's podcast before. I haven't had anybody. I had to set up Streamlabs. It's going to be a 10-minute conversation. I'm pretty sure we talked for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And that was just, we were doing this. We were just having a blast talking about movies and stuff. Because as much as, you know, oh, we're YouTubers, it's our job. And I'll speak for them here. This is our passion. This is what we love. You know, the reason we're posting our opinions on the internet is because of how strongly we feel about them. You know, and our theories and breaking it down. And it is a lot of fun. So, you know, being able to sit here with just the freaking nobodies and chat for an hour and a half about Marvel, DC, and Dune, like, that's the best day ever.
You were awesome. That was fun.
We are getting a couple last second questions. What's your favorite fast food place to eat?
Ooh, fast food place. I think I got to go with In-N-Out.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna disappoint you guys. I hate In-N-Out. It's so bad.
Oh man.
So let me preface this. Florida native, born and raised, live in Florida for, 22 years. Moved to Utah, where they have In-N-Out, because there's no In-N-Out on the East Coast.
Right.
Lines are ridiculous. Like, they're so long. Everybody loves In-N-Out. So we go to In-N-Out. Obviously. I've heard about it my whole life. Got to go to In-N-Out. It was so bad. What's the deal with those fries?
What? Like,
Okay, the fries, like, if you just get their regular fries, it is...
Don't tell me animal style is the answer, because that didn't help.
What?
That didn't help. It was awful.
Man.
What about well done fries? You know, you can get them like a little extra.
I might prefer that. I might have to go back. I've been 3 times, because I keep wanting to give it a go. Like, maybe the first time was bad. So I was like, no, you got to go get everything animal style. So I did. Worse.
Oh my goodness.
We went...
In-N-Out.
I've been to 3 different ones. We've gone to a different one every time.
You go to the one in LA?
I mean, no, I didn't go to the one in LA. I live in Utah.
Well,
yeah, maybe. But yeah, Jake's saying we definitely come to finally. Jake and I disagree on something. We have finally come to a disagreement. Ask them for extra crispy. Maybe that's what I have to do. But they taste like you're just eating oil. They taste like napkins that have been dipped in oil.
Okay, so let's ask you, what's your favorite then?
Oh, I don't know. I love food. I'm bad. Like, I'll eat. Like, I would challenge anybody to make a dish that I wouldn't eat and enjoy. There is not a food out there I don't like.
If you're stuck on a desert island, right?
I don't.
You got one...
I don't know. Are we just talking like fast food here?
Yeah.
Joe, I honestly don't know. I can't. I'm a big Taco Bell fan. I don't know if I'd want to eat that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think for me it would be in between In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's good, but Chick-fil-A gets boring. Like, do you ever get anything but the exact same thing at Chick-fil-A every time you go?
I would get the same thing. I get a sandwich and nuggets.
Right, it's the exact. Everybody who goes to Chick-fil-A gets the exact same order every single time, down to the drink.
You get like the number one, like with the sandwich. And...
Number one with the sandwich, medium fry, Chick-fil-A sauce and Polly sauce because I like to mix it.
Nice.
and then a lemonade. Or sometimes, if I want to be adventurous, a frosted lemonade.
So, like, I started getting it without the pickle because what I heard is, like, in the morning, they prepare all the sandwiches with pickles, right? And they keep it, like, on, like, a heater. But you know how sometimes it's soggy?
This is a
Like, you gotta
theory,
say-
guys. Did you guys hear the
It's not-
Chick-fil-A theory? No, what is it?
But if you get without the pickle, they have to make it fresh for you in the drive-thru.
Oh,
Fresh.
dude,
And then
this,
maybe just
mark my
on the
words.
side.
This is gonna be a video on their podcast. Did you guys hear the Chick-fil-A theory? No, that's pretty good. That's not bad. Have you ever had Zaxby's? Probably not, because you're Californian. I think maybe Raising Cane's is what they have on your side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's essentially that from the East. They make this delicious chicken tenders with a very similar sauce to like Raising Cane's, like this. I don't even know what it is. Chicken sauce. I like
you
that
have
a
a
lot. Wawa? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, not in Utah, but in Florida, Wawas are glorious.
Okay. I went to Florida with a friend, and he took me to Wawa.
Yeah, Wawa's
gotta-
spectacular.
In LA, the gas stations don't have like a restaurant inside. You know?
I
So,
love
like,
gas
when we
station
went to
food.
Florida, you could go in and get food, like hot
Yeah,
food.
you order it on an iPad. They have an open kitchen, and you like order sandwiches. Like they'll make you grilled cheese or subs or hoagies, soup. You order it on an iPad, and
The shakes are so good.
shakes. Like it's like straight up like a steak and shake or like they do all sorts of stuff. They do burgers. They do breakfast. They have these at Wawa. If you ever get to go again, they have these cream cheese soft pretzels with cinnamon on the outside. Like I actually like no joke. Like my what's the term I'm looking for here? I can't remember the word. My guilty pleasure, I guess.
Okay.
I love gas station food. I love gas station food. Like,
Wawa?
well, Wawa does a really good job. In Utah, they have a place called Maverick.
Okay.
They actually, my family lives in Daytona Beach. And I was just back in Florida. Right after, from Venom, I was in Florida. I flew back. They just built this gas station there. It's from Texas, so. But they just built one in Daytona, and it's called Buc-ee's. It's 200 gas pumps. And it's like the size of a small Walmart. And you walk inside, and it's got just everything. It's gigantic. It's absolutely insane. And they do pulled pork sandwiches, like fresh, hot pulled pork sandwiches, and these kolache type, like, bundle things, and hot dogs and grilled cheese. And they have iPads and a whole kitchen you can order different foods off. It's gigantic. I love food like that. It's really fast. It's really simple.
Our
So
gas
good.
station, it's like, Chevron, right? And there's
Like the preheated, they made it 4 days ago.
but you don't ever see a restaurant in there where you can order like hot food.
They have like the spinning hot dogs on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The taquitos are good though. 7-Eleven. I like those. I like 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, right? The pizza. I didn't know you can get a full size.
Yeah,
pizza.
and it's pretty fresh too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 7-Eleven real close to where I grew up as a kid. It was probably the closest gas station to us, and we'd ride our bike there with the
Nice.
quarters we found off the counter. And we would go and buy a Slurpee and a pizza or a taquito or something. That was my childhood, guys. But no, I love gas station food. Wawa's brilliant. Maverick out in Utah is really good. If you're ever in Utah, Maverick makes really good food. They have fresh kitchens. Like, it's the move. Like, if you own a gas station and you're not selling fresh food, you're missing out on a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's sad that they don't have something like that in Cali yet. I would assume that they did. But I guess California's vibe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not an expert, is like fresh, organic, clean. Like, I feel like gas station food's like the anti-existence of California. Am I wrong?
Well, if we had a Wawa, I think it would do really well.
Oh yeah, it would definitely kill it.
I mean, the food quality you get at Wawa.
It's restaurant quality.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. It's so good.
It would for sure kill it over here.
Yeah, well, maybe we open a franchise, boys. Or we'll build our own. We'll call it Cosmic Nobodies. And we'll serve Iron Man fries and Spider-Man apple slices.
There you go.
I don't know. I love food, guys. I'm a huge like I was saying before. I challenge anybody to find a dish I won't eat. Like I've eaten some weird, obscure stuff. I've
What's the
eaten
weird?
balut. I've had iguana. I've had
Balut.
brain tacos. I've had blood sandwiches. I've had it all.
Videos on while you're talking about this stuff. Balut.
Balut.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I mean, I don't know if I would actively seek out balut, but I could eat it because I know probably 90% of the planet Earth couldn't eat it.
Oh man, you should make a TikTok eating balut.
I should make a TikTok doing a lot of things. But well, that and gas stations aren't clean here, and usually when we get gas, we are in a hurry. 7-Eleven nachos are my favorite.
Yeah, California, everyone's in a hurry, so they probably wouldn't go inside to get food.
I went to California.
California.
The first time I ever went to California was a 30-hour trek there and back to get my bike. I bought a motorcycle from a guy in California.
Oh wow!
So we got in Warren's truck and we drove through the night to Santa
Barbara?
Maybe. I don't remember if it was Santa Barbara or something else. But pretty much something like that. Southern California.
Okay.
And we drove straight there, got the bike in the truck, turned around, and left. We drove right on the highway outside of, I guess, Hollywood. So like the mountain where the Hollywood sign is, the highway behind it, we drove on that.
Oh, okay.
Stopped at a gas. There's so many people. It's so bad. I don't know if I could ever live in California. But we tried to go to like a gas station, and like there's no parking spots. There's nowhere to go because we needed food. So we went naturally to a gas station because that's our instinct. And we like go inside, and it's like just packed, just absolutely ridiculously full. And then we realized they didn't have any food there. So I guess now that you're saying it, like it kind of sinking in for me, like they didn't have food. So we tried to go to McDonald's, equally packed. It took us forever. That was like my first experience in California. Is it's impossible to get food.
Because every fast food place or every popular fast food place is always going to be packed.
Yeah. There's a huge line at In-N-Out, which you don't have to worry about because you don't like it.
I don't like In-N-Out. No, well, In-N-Out in Utah is always packed. In-N-Out is like it's like a thing. Like people love it.
What don't you like about the burgers?
It's just not. I don't. Maybe it was I spent my entire life getting told how great In-N-Out was, and then I had it, and it wasn't anything special, perhaps. But they just don't. I mean, I grew up with the normal stuff: McDonald's, Wendy's. Like that's my fast food burgers. And then gas station burgers. I'll eat 7-Eleven burgers. I'm not scared. I got iron stomach. I grew up eating Taco Bell. You know, like so I ate all the normal stuff, the normal East Coast stuff. I come out and there's In-N-Out. I've heard about it my whole life. It's the best burger ever made, and I had it, and it wasn't. And maybe that was it. I mean, I don't know if there was anything specific I didn't like about it. It just didn't have anything specific that I did like about it.
I see.
And then somebody's like, "Oh, you got to get it animal style," and I don't know what that sauce was, but it was terrible. It was so bad. Went to Chick-fil-A. That was completely packed once. Yeah, Chick-fil-A is always very busy as well. Wish we had one out here. We got a lot of Santas here. Wow, yeah. But yeah, guys, we got sidetracked talking about food because somebody brought up one of my favorite topics. You guys were fantastic. Thank you for your cooperation for starters and for wanting to be involved. Hopefully down the road we can have you back.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
For sure. And hopefully this is the beginning of an awesome friendship. Because genuinely just have fun talking with you guys. Like I said the other night, talk to you guys forever just for the fun of it. You guys are all witnessing it here first, my new friends. And that's okay. It's good to make friends on the internet. That's why we're here. So thank you to everybody for being a part of this moment where we weren't even talking about movies. We're talking about In-N-Out. All you guys sticking with us. Like I said and have said and will continue to say, check these guys out. They're genuine. They're awesome. They're intelligent. They're astute. They're good looking. Go follow them on TikTok if you haven't already. Check out their Just the Nobodies podcast YouTube channel. And a lot of love from me, from them, to you guys. You guys make what we do possible. Had an absolute blast. So I'll see you guys all on Monday, since tomorrow is my day